Welcome back to Ritual's Vault, where horsepower never dies. And today, we're talking about a beast that doesn't just growl, it thunders. That's right, we're diving back into the legendary 1968 Dodge Charger RT, a car so bold it could bench press a Prius before breakfast. Now, before we jump on into this fastback fury, let's hit the brakes just for a second. This video actually is a redo. Yes, the original had a little run-in with the copyright police. So, we're back with a new cut, same classic muscle, and zero legal roadblocks. Sometimes you gotta downshift, re-edit, and hit the gas again. Back to the Charger. This isn't just a car. It's a asphalt-pounding, rear-wheel ripping symbol of 1960s American rebellion. With hidden headlights that stare like a poker champ and a body shaped like a Coke bottle on a steroid cycle, the 68 RT isn't just eye candy. It's eye artillery. Another classic unlocked, another beast revived. Why? Because modern cars forgot what muscle means. And here at Ritual's Vault, we're here to remind them, one rumbling relic at a time. Strap in, because the Charger RT doesn't whisper nostalgia. It shouts it through dual exhausts. Let's buzz into something a little more fun, because in 1968, Chrysler decided muscle cars needed a mascot. Enter the Scat Pack, a marketing campaign that slapped a cartoon bee with a V8 strapped to its back across their hottest performance cars. It was like Looney Tunes meets drag strip, and it worked. The Charger RT, along with the Coronet RT and Dart TTS, were part of this elite high horsepower hive. To make sure you knew these cars weren't here for polite Sunday drives, Dodge gave them bumblebee stripes, two thin lines flanking two thicker ones wrapped boldly around the rear of the car. They came in red, white, or black, depending on how loud you wanted your statement to be. These stripes were standard, but if you were the modest type, say the kind of person who launches a 440 Magnum but doesn't want to brag about it, you could actually delete the stripes at no extra charge. But really, why would you? It's like ordering a triple stack cheeseburger and saying, hold the cheese. The Scat Pack wasn't just a gimmick, it was a swagger badge. A rolling declaration that this wasn't just any Charger, this was an RT with bite and buzz. In 1968, Dodge took the B-body platform back to the drawing board, and what came out wasn't just a redesign, it was a full-blown reinvention. The entire lineup got a facelift, but the Charger? It got a whole new identity, stepping out of the Coronet's shadow and into its own spotlight, like a Hollywood star ditching their sitcom days for a blockbuster role. Gone was the first gen's more upscale formal vibe. In its place came raw, unapologetic muscle, shaped with the now famous Coke bottle styling by Richard Saez. Picture a body with curves in all the right places. Those bulging front fenders and sculpted rear quarter panels looked like they were flexing evil apart. The front and rear metalwork, that was the handiwork of Harvey J. Wynn, and it gave the car an aggressive stance that meant business. The fastback roof? Ditched. In came the flying buttress design, a nod to the Pontiac GTO's sloping rear pillars, and a kick-up rear that hinted at a built-in spoiler. Up front, the hidden headlight grille remained, but now with vacuum-operated covers, because electricity is for turn signals, not for intimidation. Dual round taillights and scalloped doors finished the look. Subtle? Not even a little. Stunning? Absolutely. Now let's pop the hood, because that's where the real story begins. For 1968, Dodge rolled out the new RT package, which stood for Road Track, not Road and Track magazine, though we wouldn't blame you for the mix-up. This wasn't just a trim level, it was a warning label. Standard in the RT was the legendary 440 Magnum V8, a brute carried over from the previous year, now placed front and center in this curvaceous monster. With 375 horsepower and a pavement-twisting 480 foot-pounds of torque, the 440 was less engine and more land-bound rocket booster. Master throttle and it didn't accelerate, it detonated forward. And if that wasn't enough, Dodge offered the 426 HEMI as an option. With 425 horsepower and a sound that could shake the fillings out of your teeth, the HEMI was the mechanical equivalent of unleashing a thunder god in traffic. Whether you went Magnum or HEMI, the 1968 Charger RT wasn't just fast. It was Chrysler's muscle car apex predator. It roared loudly, hit harder, and made sure everyone at the stoplight knew you weren't there to make friends. This wasn't just performance, it was high-octane middle finger to subtlety. Now, it's one thing to have monstrous power under the hood, but it's another to deliver it to the pavement without turning your tires into smoking regret. That's where the drivetrain transmission of the 1968 Dodge Charger RT came into play. Dodge didn't just build a muscle car. They built a machine that could transfer brute force like a heavyweight boxer with ballet shoes. The RT came standard with an A727 Torque Flight 3-speed automatic, one of the most respected automatics of the era. Smooth shifting and nearly indestructible, it was like the strong silent type, never flashy but always got the job done. Perfect for lighting up the rear tires without spilling your coffee. For those who believe their muscle cars should be rode by hand, Dodge offered the legendary A8 33 4-speed manual transmission, complete with a Hirsch shifter. It didn't just shift gears, it punched them into place. Grabbing second gear in a Charger RT felt less like changing speeds and more like throwing a thunderclap at the horizon. Paired with a bulletproof drive shaft and a tough rear axle, the Charger's drivetrain didn't whine, grind, or hesitate. It just took all that fear from the front and made sure it hit the road like a wrecking ball with a license plate. Underneath the brawny body of the 1968 Dodge Charger RT sat the trusted B-body platform, Chrysler's mid-sized foundation of mayhem. Think of it as a skeleton of a heavyweight prizefighter, strong, solid, and built to take a pounding without flinching. Up front, the Charger rode on a torsion bar suspension, Dodge's signature move in the muscle car arena. Instead of traditional coil springs, the setup used long, twisty bars to soak up bumps and maintain ride height. It was like giving the Charger gymnast ankles, flexible but tough as nails. Torsion bars gave it better front-end stability and made it easier to dial in its ride height, whether you were cruising Main Street or staging at the Strip. In the rear, things got a little... Step inside the 1968 Dodge Charger RT and you're greeted by a cabin that walks the line between brute and beauty, like a heavyweight fighter in a tailored tux. Dodge knew muscle didn't have to mean misery, so they gave the RT an interior that was surprisingly refined for a tire-shredding beast. The front came standard with bucket seats ready to cradle you during aggressive launches or casual Sunday drives, while the rear offered a roomy bench for passengers lucky enough to hitch a ride in this rolling thundercloud. Upholstery choices ranged from tough vinyl to plush options that screamed, "Yes, I drag race," and I enjoyed lumbar support. The dashboard was clean and driver-focused, sporting a 4-gauge cluster with a massive speedometer, fuel, temperature, and oil pressure gauges. Nothing flashy, just what you needed to keep the tabs in your rolling inferno. You could even check off options like power windows, rear defroster, or, if you were feeling especially high-tech, an 8-track player, because nothing pairs with a 440 Magnum quite like blasting classic rock through a dash-mounted speaker. No screens, no gimmicks, just the bare essentials wrapped in muscle-era swagger. It wasn't luxurious, it was cool. And honestly, isn't that what really matters? Now let's talk about what puts all that horsepower to the pavement without turning your rear tires into flaming spaghetti. The differential. This unsung hero lives at the back end of the Charger RT doing the dirty work while the engine gets all the glory. If you opted for the automatic, whether it was behind the 440 Magnum or the 426 HEMI, you got Chrysler's trusty 8 3/4-inch rear axle paired with 3.23 gears. Solid, dependable, and built to take a beating. It was like the blue-collar worker of differentials. Showed up every day, clocked in, and delivered. If you wanted better traction off the line, you could throw in the limited slip unit, which helped get both wheels spinning instead of just roasting one into a rubbery mess. But if you're bold enough to choose the 4-speed manual, Dodge didn't mess around. You got the Dana 60 rear axle, the heavyweight champ of axles, with 3.54 gears and a sure grip limited slip standard. This setup laughed in the face of torque, shrugged off punishment, and made sure your Charger clawed at the asphalt like a lion chasing its lunch. It didn't just drive the power. It delivered the violence, clean and controlled, right to the road. The 1968 Dodge Charger RT wasn't just a car. It was a statement, written in steel and measured in feet. At 208 inches long, this beast was nearly as long as a city bus. Okay, maybe not quite, but close enough that parallel parking required a prayer and a plan. With a width of 76.7 inches, the Charger filled every inch of its lane with pure attitude. You didn't drive this thing so much as command it, like captaining a warship through a sea of econo boxes. At 53.2 inches tall, it had a low crouch stance that made it look like it was ready to pounce, even when standing still. The 117-inch wheelbase gave it a stability at high speeds, helping it float down the highway like a muscle-bound cruise missile. And when it came to weight, the Charger RT was no featherweight. 3,737 to 3,979 pounds, depending on your options. That's a lot of metal to move, but with a 440 or a HEMI under the hood, weight wasn't a problem. It was just a challenge the engine was more than happy to accept. Bottom line, this wasn't a small, nimble sports car. It was a full-size muscle hammer, and it never missed a swing. The 1968 Dodge Charger RT was like a heavyweight boxer in a tux. Undeniably powerful, stylishly aggressive, and just a little bit dangerous. Let's start with the strengths, and oh boy, there were plenty. The 440 Magnum and optional 426 HEMI were the stuff of legends, engines that didn't ask politely, they demanded respect. Combine that with Charger's bold design, hidden headlights, and that iconic Coke bottle body, and you had a car that looked like it could punch through time and space. The ride? Surprisingly smooth. The torsion bar suspension up front and solid forward-link rear gave it just enough grace to cruise, but when you planted your foot, it turned into a rolling stampede. It was also built tough. A reminder, Dodge didn't do dainty. But no classic comes without a few quirks. Despite all that muscle, the Charger RT wasn't exactly nimble. It took corners like a shopping cart with a full keg in the basket. And unless you optioned in disc brakes, stopping power was more of a suggestion than a guarantee. Fuel economy? Let's just say you made friends with gas station attendants all over the country. Still, with all its flaws, the Charger RT was pure charisma on wheels. Flawed, fast, and unforgettable. So there you have it. The 1968 Dodge Charger RT, a car that didn't whisper performance, it screamed it. From its brawny fastback redesign to its thunderous 440 Magnum or fire-breathing HEMI, this wasn't just Dodge flexing. It was Dodge doing push-ups on top of rolling engine block. Whether you were laying rubber at a stoplight or just sitting at a driveway looking menacing, the 68 Charger RT delivered muscle car magic in every square inch of steel. This video, of course, is the retooled version, the no copyright remix, if you will. But the muscle's still raw, the facts still hit hard, and the engine's still roaring, just with a legally clean exhaust note this time. Now we want to hear from you. If you had the keys to a 68 Charger RT, would you go full HEMI or stick with the mighty 440? Drop your pick in the comments below and let's get a muscle car debate rolling. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any more high-octane history from Richard Will's vault. And remember, keep it loud, keep it classic.